What's up, film family? Welcome to the Film Room Podcast. My name is Scott,
My name's Dion.
and I am excited for this one. Today, we're doing The Lord of the Rings, The Fellowship of the Ring, the first of this legendary trilogy that came out in 2001. We're going to be getting into the family meeting. We got the deep dive coming up. We're going to finish with the Filmmies, which is our award show. Make sure you stay tuned for that. That's always a good time. But we always start with our general thoughts. General thoughts. Dion, I know you've seen this movie, but what are your general thoughts on Lord of the Rings?
I really liked it. I mean, I watched the trilogy for the first time back in 2025. Like, we're doing this episode because the movie is turning 25 this year. But I watched for the first time the whole trilogy, including the Hobbit movies in 2025, and I really liked it. It's obviously a movie that you get the best experience from watching it in the theaters. I just didn't have that opportunity. Now they were all playing in the theater, so I could slip in and get to at least watch one of them in the theaters. But I really liked it. What about you, though? How many times have you watched this now?
I couldn't even tell you how many times I've watched it. I love these movies. These are some of my favorites. And watching it at I don't think I've ever seen these in a theater. I definitely didn't watch them when they came out in theaters.
Yeah.
But I mean, you're totally right. The music, the scale, the visuals, everything in a theater would be super awesome. I know they do it all the time. They have them like live in concert. So they have an orchestra that plays the music while the movie's on screen. I did that once, not for a Lord of the Rings movie, but that would be dope for these movies.
Yeah, that would sound fun. I've always wanted to do one of those too. Like I always see those opportunities pop up. I even saw it, like, not to go too much on a tangent, but just to give the example, I saw it for like a Dragon Ball Z movie, and I was like, I know.
That's a weird one.
It feels very random, but I mean, scores and everything. You could do that for you could literally do that for any movie.
Yeah, you're right. There's music in every movie, but some movies, like, one, the music is better, and two, the music is more like, important to, or just it means more in the movie, or it does more for the movie. Dragon Ball Z, I guess, like, while there's a big fight happening, that's pretty cool.
Yeah. I think that's really what it is. It's like when they're fighting and the build up when someone's giving their long speech, as often happens.
Fair enough. But yeah, I love these movies. The world building is absolutely incredible, top tier. The feel I think that these movies provide with like just the whole otherworldly fantasy magic, everything's really elevated. I love that. The scale, it's just a mad epic journey. Like, the story's incredible. The characters are great. The stakes are really well communicated. And like we talked about, the music, it's just, these movies have everything. I love these movies.
Yeah, this one actually, because I think you talked about this with me before. You were telling me, you're like, oh, which one did you like the most? Because everyone has like their different ones that they like attach themselves to. And this is actually the one that I think is actually my favorite. Again, this is the only one I've watched twice, so maybe I'd have to rewatch the other ones again and see if I still feel that way. But and I also feel like it's a little bit of like, I just watched it, so that's 100% why I even lean more to it. Why I say it's my favorite. But after I watched all three, I was like, I think the first one was my favorite movie of the.
Yeah, this is a rare trilogy where there isn't one movie that's clearly better than all the others or clearly worse than all the others. All three of them are really good, and I've heard people give literally every single different order of what their favorites are, and I never argue with people because they're all great, and I think there's no wrong answer to what. It's just a personal preference thing. I think for me, the second one is clearly my favorite because I love the Battle of Helm's Deep. That's just an action set piece that it's peak for me, and the story is great throughout all of them. The third one has a nice big battle too, which I like. But this first one, again, like you said, just having just watched it, this might be my second favorite.
Okay, interesting. There is one aspect of the movie I want to get more into detail that I didn't enjoy as much. It didn't make me dislike the movie, but there was one element, which again, it's gonna happen. No movie's perfect, but there is one element that I do want to talk about. I'm gonna tease. We can get deeper into.
That'll be in the deep dive. But our rankings is a perfect segue into the family meeting. So let's get right into it.
Let's get into it.
I don't have friends. I got family.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to the family meeting. We are all part of the film family, and this is where we talk to the internet about movies. And like I said, it was a perfect segue. I asked the question on our Instagram, what is your favorite movie of the trilogy? I put out a poll for all three, and we got 50% and 50% for number 2 and 3. So no one that voted actually had number 1.
Okay, interesting.
That surprised me, but I mean, hey, it is what it is. Those are just people that voted.
I was just gonna ask it like how that made you feel, because before you just said that you've heard every different answer and you're not surprised in the order. But I guess it's still surprising the first one didn't even get 1 vote.
Yeah, that's what surprises me is because, like I said, if people have a whatever order they want, and I never argue it is what it is, but I was expected all of them to at least get 1. But
yeah, I think what it is, and again, we're only really talking about the first one in this episode, but like every movie gives you something different. It gives you more of certain elements, or even more of certain characters that you didn't like. Oh, I got way more of this character in this movie, but I liked this guy more in this movie because he got more focus or whatever it is. So like, I think that's a big part of why, because there's a lot of characters, and it's like, I guess at the end of the day, it depends on which characters like you kind of rock with the most.
Yeah, that's a really good point. You're right. It depends on kind of who you resonate more with, or just who you find the most entertaining, whatever like journey they're on, or the character arc or whatever, and which movie gives you the most of that. Maybe it would be something that, like in the second one, like in the first one, we don't get Gollum at all, really, and I like Gollum.
Mm-hmm. That was my prime example. I was gonna say, I was like, like when I was first going into them, like I knew of Gollum, and then when I watched the first movie, I'm like, oh, then this guy was like a big part of it, and I was like, I guess he comes in later because he's like non-existent basically in the first movie.
Yeah, he gets introduced because I mean, in the narration at the start, she is explaining that he had the ring and everything, and then we understand that that's how the Nazgûl know where the ring is in the Shire with Bilbo Baggins, because they torture Gollum. And then we see him one more time when he's like creeping through the mines, and there's like, oh, he's following us. And so they're really just like teasing the character. That's all we get from him.
No, yeah, it's really all we get.
I also asked Reddit. I didn't ask what's your favorite. I asked for the ranking. So basically the most upvoted answer, so I guess what people agreed with the most, was 1, 3, 2.
Okay.
So what's your ranking? If you had, so you have number 1, you said first, then what would you do?
It's tough. I 3 and 2 are pretty close for me, but I think it might be. That's a tough question, man. I should have expected this.
Yeah, you should have.
I don't know why I didn't. I don't know why I didn't expect you to ask.
Okay, well, here,
this,
let me give you the next most upvoted order.
Okay,
was 2, 1, 3, and I think that's where I'm at. And then the next one, so I have top 3. The next one is 1, 2, 3 in that order. So
okay. I mean,
I don't know if that gives you any information, but
it just gives
it's your own personal ranking. But yeah,
you just gave me more time to think about it.
Exactly,
really what it is. My gut says 1, 1, 2, 3, but I before I was saying 1, 3, 2. And again, it doesn't really necessarily mean like when people hear those things, but you obviously understand. It's like, oh, so you're shitting on this one. It's not really shitting on any of them. It's just you just have to pick an order, and it's like that's how it falls. I think my gut says 1, 1, 2, 3.
Okay, so you agree with the top 3 pick. So that's not I mean, it really doesn't matter if you agree with them or not. But I mean, you got some people that has your back on that one. I got 2, 1, 3, 1, 3, 2.
And you said 2. You said 2, 1, 3.
2, 1, 3. I think for me, I had 2, 3, 1 for a long time, because like the thing about 1 is like the action isn't great. Well, I shouldn't say that. The action's great. There's just not a lot of it, and that doesn't mean that all the other stuff isn't great. The world building and the characters and like people coming and going, and like people joining the fellowship and leaving the fellowship, and we're learning all about the different peoples and the different places that they live, and all that stuff is fantastic. But like at the end of the day, this is also like a medieval like battle movie, and I want to see some cool battles. and one
Yeah,
and one
that's
doesn't
fair.
really give me that.
Yeah, that's a good point.
I wanted to shout out specifically Tommy1RX. He said they still count as one. I think that's just a little joke to what when Gimli says that to Legolas in the
Oh,
third one.
yeah.
I think is that still only counts
Yeah.
as one. That was funny. I never think of them as separate entities. They are one. The precious.
Mm.
So that's not
fair.
an answer, Tommy, but funny, and I like that. And then the world discarded. So he gave his ranking 2-1-3, but he also said, because he just watched it in theaters, he said Aragorn wears Boromir's braces at the end of the movie, and then he wears them for the rest of the movies. And I never noticed that. Like there's a when he's like strapping up his stuff at the end of the movie when Frodo and Sam are on the other side. Those are Boromir's braces. It's like a forearm
Oh,
guard,
okay.
by the way. Yeah, those are
Yeah,
Boromir's.
yeah. Okay, I didn't realize that. Is that only in the extended version? You noticed
it's in
that,
this
or?
one. I didn't notice. He told
Oh.
this the world discarded on Reddit mentioned that.
Okay.
But no, you see it in the theatrical version, and I mean,
Okay,
I think that's
didn't catch
cool.
that.
Like, no, I never caught it either. I think it's cool though. Like, you know, I get it. You're supporting your dead homie. You know, you're paying respects to your fallen comrade, but also looting your dead homie. That's kind of crazy. like, dude, I just picture him putting on Boromir's full fit, like walking back to Legolas and Gimli, and they're just looking at him like, and he's like, "What? He can't use this stuff anymore. Like, what's the big deal?" You know.
No, that's a good point. But maybe they'd be like, "Oh, he's paying tribute." I don't know.
Yeah.
He's paying tribute. It's like,
I think that's what I mean. Like, he's paid tribute with the one thing, but if he had his full fit, that'd be. I thought,
yeah,
that's
no,
funny,
that'd be a bit much.
Okay, now one final shout out. We got a review on Apple Podcasts from That Black Rose, SR Boy. He said, Scott and Dion do interesting and hilarious breakdowns each week on great films. The inclusion of us, the listener, into the family meeting is tremendous. I love adding my 2 cents in when I can. It really makes me feel a part of the discussion, even with having been in the room. That is facts. But thank you so much
part
for
of the family
review.
meeting right now.
That's right. Appreciate it. Appreciate it.
Yeah, greatly appreciate the review, man. It's so heartwarming to hear that you appreciate these elements, like stuff that we throw into the podcast. We were kind of iffy on even doing the family meeting thing, but it seems like people are liking it. And it's fun to listen back and react to things. So
Yeah, and I think
that
too,
review.
like we have people like the world discarded that gave me a fact that I just didn't even know about Boromir's bracers, stuff like that. Like there's tons of smart people out in the world that have really great points, so we love including it. Thank you for the review. Anybody else? We promise shout outs every time for a 5-star review. I guess any review, but if you leave a written one, it's getting shouted out.
100%. Appreciate it.
All right, so deep dive time. So
Yep.
what I like about this movie is it's really like episodic. Like you have, okay, we start in the Shire, and then we learn about the Hobbits. Then they have to go to Bree, and we meet Aragorn. Then they go to Rivendell, and they assemble the Fellowship. Like it's all kind of like these individual points based on where they're at and who's in the group.
Yeah.
So I broke down my notes this way, and I was hoping you would join me on this journey through Middle Earth.
Okay. Okay.
And we'll talk about the movie. So
All
we
right,
start
let's
in
go
the
through it.
Shire. And what I like most about this section of the movie is like they're really building the legend of the ring. Like Gandalf won't even touch it. And they're talking about how important it is. Bilbo gets all like mad about it when Gandalf asks him to leave it. When he drops it on the ground before he leaves his house, it like slams on the ground. You ever notice that? Like it doesn't bounce.
Yeah.
And just like showing the weight of the ring. Like I think they did a really good job of building the stakes and the importance of this thing.
Oh yeah, no, I 100% agree. Like I didn't know, like again, like I said, I watched for the first time last year. When I was first getting into these movies, I actually didn't even know what the appeal of the ring was. Like I didn't know, like from an outsider's perspective, I thought it was like if you had the ring, it just meant like you had the power in the sense of like kind of like having like the crown kind of thing. Like I didn't know actually like the emotional pull and all these things. So like getting all that again is like, oh, okay, that's cool. And like he's really you see this struggle with the ring and like the hold like in its pocket, and then yeah, that was a note I had too. Like when he dropped it, and it was just like this loud thud, and I
Hmm.
was like, oh snap.
Yeah,
Like
I
it's
mean
like
I
yeah.
thought for a while too that it just turned you invisible because
Mm,
that's what happens when you put it on is you turn invisible. And I was like, oh, that's what the
yeah.
power of the ring is. I mean, because I saw these for the first time when I was a kid, so like it you just understand less, or it just takes a little longer to understand these things.
Yeah.
And having watched it so many other times, it's a little easier. But like that, it's connected to Sauron, and like the ring is its own character, kind of like they talk about it like it has control over what's happening to it, like it
Mhm.
wants to be found. And
Yeah.
Galadriel at the start says, and the ring betrayed Gollum, and it does. It's like this is a ring; it can't do anything, right? It just sits there, but like it has this power of mind, and like it manipulates people into doing things, and that stuff is so cool.
No, it is really cool. Like I going into the movie, I was again, you see get the little elements of like, oh, okay, it makes you disappear, but like it's like a very slow build of not only it does it like you think it was just like you get addicted to it because like um there's this element of oh it makes me feel good when I have it, and like it's like keeping you youthful, which is obviously another element of it too,
Hmm.
but there's this psychological element of it that is just it just pulls you, and it's like this thing of addiction almost. It's like your fix that you just can't give away. And it's like it works, and it's a slow thing. Like even when Frodo holds it, it's not like anything that like okay, like this is fine. It's like it's not like an immediate once you touch this ring, it's like you're locked in. It's like this thing that slowly weighs on you, and then are people around you, which is yeah, it's just a cool element that I didn't
That is a
expect when
that is a good point that it kind of slowly overtakes you, but I think it's different for different people. Like humans,
mm,
for example, like our minds are just weak is in the story
yeah,
anyways. So like Isildur, right? He was right there in Mount Doom, couldn't get rid of it right away. Boromir, the ring's constantly like talking to him, and he is definitely weaker to defending like mind defense, I guess,
yeah,
of this ring. Hobbits, I guess, have like an extra strong mind, or like they're just
yeah,
nicer people. Because I mean, something that I think the start of this movie does well too is, like I said, puts us in the field of like the fantasy world. Like we're in the
yeah,
Shire, these little people that live in houses underground, and they just like farm and have parties, and like everything's fun and
yeah,
nice here. But like that is that just takes you all the way out of like the real world. Like we're really
yeah.
placing us in this fantasy land. But I guess because everything's so nice and perfect in the Shire, they almost don't have that natural instinct in their mind, like a thirst for power. And that's what the ring is, right? It's power. So like for men that they want more and more power, the ring is addictive. For a hobbit, not really.
Yeah, no, it's true. And that's a element of the beginning that I really do enjoy too, is that fantasy aspect of it. Kind of reminds me of like, I mean, like there's like Harry Potter, any of those things where it's like, all right, we're getting into this world, and like they bring you in through like the fun. It's like this is what they do. Like even just the little stuff of like the fireworks, like that stuff's so cool. It's
Hmm.
just like again, I don't have this nostalgia of watching as a kid, but it's I can still admire like, oh, this is so fun. Like it'd be so fun to actually see cool fireworks like this and like a dragon and stuff like that. That is stuff I appreciated even as an adult. I'm like, oh, this is so cool. Like I like the vibe of this. I know it's not going to stay here because I know what this
Hmm.
movie is. Like we're about to get somewhere else, but I like how we're okay. This is how these guys live their life, and like there's about to be a big change in their life.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, they do that with every different step of the way, and every stop they make, they kind of show how people live and what they do. And the thing about the fireworks too is that tells us without telling us that like Gandalf is a wizard. I mean, they say it out loud that he's a wizard
Yeah,
when he shows up. You know, he says you're late. No, a wizard's never late. He's always right on
yeah,
time. But you don't really know exactly what that means. So he does the fireworks, and he even like when he intimidates Bilbo, right? When Bilbo's like, no, it's my ring and I can do whatever I want with it. And then he, Bilbo Baggins, and like
yeah,
the all those
yeah,
light goes away, and he like takes up the whole screen. Like you could tell he's doing something magical. So you know he's powerful, but you don't know
Mhm.
exactly what it is. But that's another thing that they just hint at. Like this guy has some juice to him.
Yeah, no, for sure. And that was another interesting element too of just like it. I could say that even after all these years, nothing necessarily got like ruined for me. Like thankfully, like I didn't know who was gonna live, who was gonna die. Like I didn't know about any big turns or anything like that. So like there was just certain names that I'd hear where I was like, okay, I know I've heard this name before. I know this guy's gonna be big, and so it
Mm,
was cool to see. Um, yeah, just to see those elements of these characters and I was like, I don't know what he's gonna be like with this, like being a wizard and all that stuff. But yeah, they got me from the beginning. I remember being locked, and then even on the rewatch, it's still like remembering. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be a fun ride.
yeah, there's one more thing from the Shire that I liked was Frodo. So Bilbo leaves. Frodo has the ring and he kind of just leaves it at the house.
Yeah.
Gandalf leaves to get some information. He comes back because then they find out that this is the ring, and he says they found Gollum, and they said Baggins and Shire, so they're coming to get it. And Frodo says, "But it can't stay in the Shire," and he says, "No, it can't." And then he just pauses for a second, closes his hand, says, "What must I do?" And Frodo just understands. He's like, I can't take this. Like, take it, Gandalf. He's like, no, I won't touch it. Oh, I got to do this.
Yeah.
And he just like closes his hand and was like, yeah, hell yeah. It just fires me up.
Yeah, no, it's good. I like the I like that. It's interesting too because like after watching the Hobbit movies, I find it I find it interesting, and part of me was thinking I was like maybe I should have watched the Hobbit movies first. I don't know if that's like a weird thing to say, just because
Hmm.
like after watching that and then watching the Hobbit movies, and I'm coming back to this movie and then hearing them talk about like oh that thing with the dragon and talking about like oh yeah I did
Hmm.
that and him telling the kids these stories. I'm like oh he's actually like I didn't know he was actually telling real stories. You know sometimes like old man tells a story and it's something
Yeah.
that's never gonna be like talked
Okay,
like you
Unc.
know yeah, exactly. But then you actually later on get to see these things. I'm like, oh, he actually did these things. So I was like, that's interesting. Like, I don't know. They did the Star Wars thing, right? Where like, let's do 4, 5, 6 first, and then make those other movies. I don't, because I don't know if they planned on doing them
I
that
don't
in that
I
order. But
don't
that's how they ended
think
up doing
so.
them.
Yeah, I don't think there was any plan to make Hobbit movies when these movies were being made. Like these movies were
Hmm.
shot in succession, released like they knew they were doing 3 movies here. I don't think they had any. I guess it was probably like if people like it, maybe we'll do more. And
Yeah.
you're right, like story wise, like there are a few things that you would understand more, like if you watch the Hobbit movies first. But like the only thing I would give pause to someone if I was to recommend someone who hasn't seen these movies, I'd say watch the original trilogy first, just because I don't really like the Hobbit movies, and I wouldn't want someone to
Hmm.
watch them and be like, I don't really like this, and then they come into the Lord of the Rings and they're not excited or they're already down on it. You know what I mean? Like watch these ones. I think they're better. You'll enjoy them, and then if you want more, check out the Hobbit movies.
That's interesting. I always find that that take interesting because then having younger siblings always puts like certain things in perspective for me, which I always think about when I'm thinking about TVs or movies and stuff like that. Because I think about when I grew up, and I've actually never seen the original Star Wars movies, but I've seen the Revenge of the Sith, and then a couple of the prequels. And as a kid, you're like, "What's a bad movie?" You know, it's very hard for a kid to be like, "I don't like these movies." Everybody, for most part, everyone's like, "Oh, don't watch those prequels. Just watch the original three." And my sister loves the Hobbit movies. She's never seen any of the Lord of the Rings movies, but she loves the Hobbit movies. Watched them
Hmm.
as a kid, and I actually like the Hobbit movies. So it's
Okay.
like, but you watched Lord of the Rings as a kid. So then the Hobbit movies came later, and I was like, that's like the thing that's like, oh no, this isn't as good as the thing I watched as a kid. And I always find that it's like that's not always the case. I feel like with things because sometimes things are just bad, some things are good. But like I feel like a big part of those elements is always like, no, no, don't watch those. Like those are the things I watch. Like maybe people like that. There's some kids that like the Fantastic Beasts more, but they've never seen Harry Potter. You know what I mean? It's like,
Mm. Yeah.
when did you grow up? When were you a little kid and got to experience this world for the first time? And I think that's such a huge element because I actually really like The Hobbit because I watched them all at the same time. There was no delay of like,
Hmm.
man, those Lord of the Rings movies were so good. And then 10 years later, I'm like, oh, those aren't as good as Lord of the Rings. Like, I just watched them all in succession.
Hmm. That's an interesting point, and I mean, you're totally right. Nostalgia is very real and has a real impact. I will say though, when I watched the Hobbit movies, it's not like I was a grown man. Like I was a teenager, I think, probably when I watched them for the
Hmm.
first time. So like, still, that doesn't have the same like magical feel of like when you watch a movie as a kid and you're just wowed by
Yeah.
like fun stuff. But hmm, yeah, I guess so. To me, the issue with the Hobbit movies that these movies don't have is I think like it's just one story that would have been one movie that's just spread out among three. So
Yeah.
like things that they just skip past in this movie because they're getting to the important stuff is like a whole arc in the Hobbit movies, and to me that just like this the scale and the stakes just aren't as big, and I don't like it as much.
Yeah, which is fair. And like that kind of like goes to their detriment when you do it like that, where it's like, well, the
Yeah,
big stakes thing already happened. So now you're doing the lower stakes thing afterwards, which is again an interesting way to again they I don't think they planned it, but yeah, it is
yeah,
interesting.
that's fair. Okay, next we get to Bree. They have to leave. They find Merry and
Yep.
Pippin. They have all this funny stuff with the crops and they outrun the Nazgûl. They get to the Inn of the Prancing Pony. We also get a Peter Jackson cameo when they get to
Oh, really?
Bree in the rain. Did you not know this? So
No, I didn't know this.
when they first pull up to Bree, the guys at the gate, they walk into the gate and then they're walking to the inn, and there's all these just establishing shots of the village, and it's raining, and there's a guy eating a carrot.
Hmm.
That's Peter Jackson.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was Peter Jackson.
Yeah.
And I didn't even see that like in any research. I guess maybe I just wasn't. That was one something I was searching for. Like, was there any cameos by Peter Jackson? But I didn't. I didn't even notice that. And I didn't even like. I know what he looks like, but I guess it just wasn't. Was it really obvious, or is it just
No,
something
I
that
mean
you just?
it's a super quick shot. Like it's
Okay.
maybe 2 seconds. He just takes a bite of a carrot and like turns around, and his hair's all wet, and he's just like
Okay.
some guy in the street. And yeah, it's not super
Okay.
obvious.
Okay. Okay. I didn't catch that.
I also love like they get to the bar and they have this classic thing of like a hooded figure in the corner of the bar
Oh
with like
yeah.
a cool name. It's like, oh, that's Strider, and
Yeah.
his like you don't see his face, and we get a close up of his eyes as he like inhales on his pipe, and the light from the fire, the pipe like illuminates his eyes, and it's for one, it just always works. It's always just cool.
Yeah.
Like that's just bad. That's a badass dude. But also, we don't know right at the start. Is like, is this a bad guy? Like they're kind of setting it
Yeah.
up as like we don't know if we can trust this guy. I think that works really well.
No, I agree too. And it's one element too I really like is the Nazgûl.
Hmm.
Like to just to tie it in because we were talking about how like they were kind of like on their trail and everything, and like that was an element I just liked, which I didn't really know that lore of the going into the movie too. Just like that scary presence that you get because I didn't know 100% know what their journey was gonna be, and just to know that like there was like this constant threat always looming over them. It's like wherever we go, we got to make sure we watch out because those guys could be on the prowl for us. And I really like that one scene. Like I can't remember, maybe I'm jumping ahead or if it's this is before, but like when they're escaping them and like that one aspect, like where like they're hiding like under the tree kind of
Yeah,
thing, is like right over them, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, like
yeah. And the horse is black and dirty, and it's just oozing evil. And the Howard Shore's music is very menacing, but like the Nazgûl, I I like the Nazgûl as characters, and it's cool. Like they're men that were corrupted, and now they're just driven to the power of the ring. But like, there's an aspect of them that I don't like as much in this movie is that
okay,
like they're they're kind of lame. I feel like they get caught by pillows in the room, like they're just stabbing pillows.
yeah,
Then they end up at this like watchtower, and there's five of them about to kill these hobbits, and Aragorn comes in and single handedly takes five of them out. And then Arwen pulls up, grabs Frodo on the horse, and puts five of them in the spin cycle on their horses, just breaking their ankles in the. And then they get to the river, and they can't even go into water. Like they're just kind of. And then after that, we never even see them again. So like we're in the mines, they're up on the mountains. Like you're right, like they're introduced like as this threat that they'll never stop hunting you. They'll always be coming after the ring. But then they kind of don't.
no, that is. I'm glad you brought that up too because that was element that I had written down that I thought was kind of funny too. Just especially like the pillow thing.
Yeah.
Well, like once the pillow thing happened, like they lost. I was like, okay, these guys are losing a little bit of credibility for me. Like this is pretty. This is like some freaking Home Alone nonsense. Where it's like, come on, guys. Like, how do people ever get fooled by pillows under a blanket? As like, okay, there's definitely people under here. There's no breathing. We're not seeing any chest rising or anything. But like, there's people under here. I'm sure of it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And
Why
like,
not just do a quick reveal? Just take a peek. I'm like, wait, is there? Okay, cool. Now I'll stop. Like,
yeah, two things to add there. One is because of the nature of what they are, like they don't talk, they just do like a screech, right? So like
yeah,
they're stabbing the pills and then they do the reveal, they see that they're not there and they all just like scream. That also like I get that's what these characters do, but it also kind of feels like a childish thing where it's like, like no, they're not actually here. Like we got.
yeah.
Which I don't like, but also how do they like I get they're called whenever Frodo puts the ring on and he had put the ring on in the bar and then he goes upstairs. So I guess if they have like a GPS, let's say, that's like, okay, he put the ring on here. So they go to that location that he put on in the basement, not the basement, but the main floor of this bar.
Yeah.
How would they then be like, okay, I know for sure they're upstairs sleeping in beds. Let's go stab them. That doesn't really even make sense.
No, it doesn't really make sense. And even the part you also mentioned too about Aragorn just coming in, just clapping them like 1v5 basically thing too. That was another thing where I was just like, again, I don't want to say it's convenient and it's not like a plot armor thing where it's just like, I always find it interesting, like when we have these the way they're built, it's like these guys are like they're gonna kill everybody in their way just to get the ring, whatever it is. But I just don't like it when bad guys come across as like we're all bad, we're gonna kill whatever, and then when the Hobbit's in front of them, instead of just like slaying them, let's just push them to the side. Let's just push them to the side. I'm like, I thought you were about to kill them in their sleep, and now it's just like, get out of here. Like what?
That is a fantastic point. Yeah, I mean, to me, I kind of chalk that up just like as a movie thing. I guess plot armor is the word. Yeah, that kind of is what it is. Like before Aragorn gets there, they're all up in the watchtower. They have their little daggers and they're in the middle of this big circle. And they slowly walk forward with their swords. Like guys, just like you've been waiting thousands of years to get to this ring. Thousands of years. It's been 2,000 years. You know this guy has it. You're not doing that. You're taking him out.
Yeah, and a little more pep in your step.
Yeah, exactly. Like, come on, bro. Have a little sense of urgency. Because, like, I get it sets up Aragorn as this badass fighter because he is.
Yeah,
but like, it was a little easy. You come in with a torch, and they're just these guys can't touch fire. They can't touch water. These guys are they're kind of lame. They're kind of lame.
No, exactly. And again, without it being said, I liked that scene. I liked that the element of you were talking about how this movie may not have a lot of action, but it has actions moments. And I thought this was a cool action moment with him like lighting them on fire. So then now it just becomes like a background thing of like, okay, this guy's on fire as he's fighting them. And I thought it looked cool, even like I'm making a joke about the plot armor thing, but I always think like in those moments, like you don't even have to necessarily write yourself into this plot armor moment where it's just like the hobbits could have just like ran away or got out of the way. Like you don't actually have to have the protagonist and the antagonist actually be that close where you put yourself in this moment of like, well, he would kill them, but let's just have them push them to the side. I'm like, no, just don't have them that close. Just have them bypass those guys and like they didn't even have to have any contact, and then just have them go to Frodo and do what they did because they actually did end up stabbing him.
Right.
But
yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I was
like, why did they?
Yeah, that's true. Like, because I was gonna say like they have to be there because they have to stab Frodo.
Yeah.
But like the other Hobbit, but I feel like you can't have the other Hobbits run away because their character, like Sam, would not run away. That guy. Yeah, that guy is attached to the hip with Frodo. He will not leave him. He'll drown before leaving Frodo's side. Yeah. So I feel like for not necessarily plot reasons, but for character reasons, you can't have them run away. There's just supposed to be your guys that are with them.
No, you're right. There's probably runaway is probably not the best phrasing of it. There's probably something else you could have done, but again, that's not something that like ruined it from anything, but it was just a part where I was
Yeah.
thinking, I was just like, just like 10 minutes ago, you went to stab these guys, and now you're just pushing them to the side. Like
Yeah.
that was like a one thing I was just like,
It is a
all right,
great point.
whatever,
Like
not a
while they
big
were
deal, but
sleeping, they were just gonna murder them in their sleep, and now they're right in
yeah,
front of your face. And you went, yeah, it's a good point. The one other last thing about in Bree, and I guess it kind of goes to my point of like why they couldn't run away. So Frodo gets taken upstairs by Aragorn, right? So he puts on the ring, he goes invisible. Aragorn finds him, brings him upstairs, like, oh, you got to be more careful. And
yeah.
again, we don't know if we can trust this guy yet, and neither do the hobbits. So Merry,
Mhm.
Pippin, and Sam pull up. And when they open the door, Merry and Pippin, they have a candlestick and a stool, like ready to fight. Sam's
Yeah.
just got hands. Sam pulls up and he's just
Yeah.
like, yeah, I realize you're like 4 feet taller than me. And you're the hooded badass in the corner, but that's Frodo, and let's get down. Real
Yeah,
love.
no, that was pretty badass too. The man just has his dukes up. He's just
Yup.
ready.
Yup. Yeah, the other one brought weapons. Like, oh, we got to get in a fight. What can I use around? Okay, let me grab this stool. I can do some damage with. Sam just like, let's do this.
Yeah, it's
Let's
like I
do
got
it.
my dukes. I might be bringing dukes to a sword fight, but that's what I got. That's what I got.
I got to do what I got to do, man.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
So yeah, so Frodo gets stabbed, so he's got to get rushed to Rivendell. They end up in Rivendell. We don't stay for too long, but we learn that Aragorn's the heir to the throne, and we assemble the Fellowship, and that's always a fun scene. Like Gimli, like, oh, why don't we just destroy the ring? Cool, I'll do it right now. Blows up his axe, and then we just get the whole assembling the team thing. Like, you have my sword and my bow and my axe, and it just get fired up. Fires me up.
See, this is the part that I don't want to damper your excitement, but this is the part that I
okay.
didn't love as much.
Okay.
Yeah, this is the part I didn't love as much, and it's not because like I didn't find it boring, and I don't want it to come across as like, oh, because like, oh, this didn't work for you as much because there wasn't a bunch of like action or something like that. It's like I'm not that person. Like I could be entertained by like a solid conversation that's happening between characters or whatever. It doesn't have to be action for it to be like, oh, this is boring. Like why isn't there sword fighting? It wasn't that, and I wouldn't even necessarily say like go as far as saying it was boring, but I think it was kind of like a lower period for me in the movie that was kind of just like I wasn't as engaged. And part of me was wondering what that was. Like, I don't know if it was like the elements of like once we got like the fairies in there and we were starting like to kind of learn about a little bit about them and stuff like that. But I don't know. I wasn't as invested in those characters. Like when they came through and we got like Kate Blanchett. That's she's playing one of the fairies, right?
She's
I don't
an
know. I
elf,
just
yeah.
wasn't. Yeah, she's an elf. Sorry, I'm saying fairies. I wasn't. I don't know. I just wasn't into that aspect of it as much. I don't know why. I don't know. Maybe it's the fact that I'm watching this for the first time at 29 years old, and not as a child or a teenager. Maybe that's a little bit of it. And having all this, and I think I was saying this to Eloise. I think that's a big part of it too, where I still enjoyed these movies, but I always think it's kind of what I was talking to. I was saying before. I watched Harry Potter as a child, and I watched every single one of those movies, at least after the first one in theaters. And I missed the whole Lord of the Rings thing. I didn't watch any of the Twilight movies. I watched like the Mortal Instruments. So like that whole like era of like fairy world, vampires and fairies and dragons and stuff like all that. I missed the whole boat on the Lord of the Rings stuff. I never watched the Hobbits when they came out at the time. So like watching them as an adult, they can still be enjoyable. But part of me wonders even too, like if I watched the Marvel movies for the first time at 29, would they hit with me as hard? Probably not. And I think that's what the ends up being with some of the elements in these movies where it's just like, okay, this doesn't hit for me as much because I'm not a kid. Like it's fun, which is weird because I liked the beginning so much. That was like all fun
that's
and
what I was
fairy
gonna
tale. But
ask.
this element,
The Shire
element, I don't know.
is the same thing though. To me, it's like it's setting up character, it's setting up stakes. This one does the same thing, you know what I'm saying? Like you can't just walk into Mordor. Like this is gonna be a huge task. Because Frodo thinks that at first, right? He's like, oh, I'll take the ring, sure. And they're like, no, this is like a multi-year situation, and we will be in danger the whole time. Like this is a big deal. So I think it kind of achieves the same things, I guess. Fantasy world wise, like you're supposed to be, I guess, wowed by Rivendell and just the land of the elves and oh, this guy was lived for 2,000 years and he still looks the same, and like stuff like that. I think is part of the world building that they do in this scene too. And I think maybe the assembling of the team that I really enjoy, maybe it's something that you didn't enjoy as much because maybe you just don't care about Boromir as much or Gimli as much, or
Mm.
you're like, okay, I get it. I know this is a big deal. This ring, we got to destroy this ring. I don't care for the pushback of saying like, no, we got to keep it here. We got to use it there. Like, I know we got to get on this journey and destroy this ring. So like, let's just get past this. Maybe it's something like that.
Yeah, I don't know. And I wanted to be honest, I want to talk about it because I wanted to hear your perspective on it too. Because like again, I don't want to come across like I was watching this like remember we were talking about how people say like, oh, like I don't want to watch like the Avatar movies are a chore. Like I don't think these movies are chores, and I didn't think it was a chore to watch it. But I don't know, it was just an element that I was just like, yeah, I'm just gonna be honest. I'm not gonna brush past this like when we talk about it and be like, oh, I love that part just because of it. I'm
Mhm.
like, no, I'm gonna have the actual conversation that we would have about it where it's like, yeah, that part just didn't work for me. Like, I don't know. It's hard to put an exact print on it. Like, I'm trying to talk through it with you and be like, maybe it has to do with the fact that I'm watching at this age for the first time. Maybe it's just the experience of maybe like I got my fix from Harry Potter in this
Yeah.
aspect of these things. And like, that was the wow of like, of seeing all these things in Harry Potter and some of the like the Mortal Instruments. I read all those books, which is similar kind of lore, like in these kind of things. Like that 2000s era was like everyone was doing these kind of things, and like, well, obviously Lord of the Rings is what sparked it, but that was the
Mhm.
one I just didn't see. And so like I got all of my lore from that, and even like TV shows like True Blood. Everyone's doing the fairies and the elves and stuff like that. So this isn't fresh and like new to me. So
Mm.
like, and like maybe it just, I don't know, that was the elements of these characters. Maybe some of them I just didn't resonate with me as much at the time. And then as the movies progress, I start to like them a little more. And maybe as I keep watching it, again, like you said, you don't even know how many times you've watched this. Maybe if I through more watches, I can appreciate it more. But I just remember my feeling on the first time watching it, and then on the second time, I was like, yeah, I remember that. I'm remembering. Oh yeah, I remember when I watched this part. I was like not losing me, but I noticed like from at least from where we were from the
Just
beginning
less
to like leading up
invested.
to that part, it was kind of like a down part. And then once we get back to like the tomb and stuff, like stuff gets like really crazy again. So I'm like, oh yeah, that's kind of like a part that's didn't resonate with me as much as the rest of the movie.
Interesting, because like, I mean, this scene is definitely very important. We have to establish like who these
Yeah,
people are and why they're all together and where they're all going and what the plan is. But I think it's a good point of like, you saw the other stuff after, because a lot of them took, they didn't like copy this movie, but
yeah,
they take inspiration from it. So like, it's something you've already seen before. And I think something that I like, that props the scene up for me too, is that I now know where these people are all going and what they're
yeah.
about to do. So like, seeing them start and team up and knowing what is about to happen, because they weren't all together, I'm like, okay, now this is the group. Now we can really get going. They're about to go on this crazy journey. Like, I now know that. So seeing them come together adds to it. But like, if you're watching for the first time, you don't know what's gonna happen. You're like, okay, this group is teaming up. They're gonna go and destroy this ring. Okay, sure, cool.
No, 100%. And like, I was really trying to tap into what it was. And like, again, like the easiest parallel for me is the Marvel thing, just because like I just think back to when we were kids and we already kind of knew what the Avengers were. So like this the idea of like, oh, all these dudes are gonna get together. Like, I know what's gonna happen here. I'm so hyped for this.
Mm-hmm.
Like this the same kind of as like assembly thing of like, oh, I can't wait to like Iron Man, Spider-Man, like all these dudes like this is gonna be awesome. So like that's my parallel of like the assembly thing of like I understand of like, oh man, I can't wait for this to actually happens. Like all these dudes are gonna interact. Like see Iron Man
Yeah,
make jokes with Captain America or like Thor and all make fun of these guys. Like all these like things like that.
that kind of is, I guess, what this scene is. It's like the Avengers of Middle Earth. Like, if you had read the
Yeah.
books, let's say first, and you were like, okay, I know Boromir does this, and Legolas does this, and Gimli does that, and we have got Gandalf, Mary, and then when this scene happens, you're like, okay, these are all my guys. Like, I'm
Yeah.
so excited to see them all together, and this is actually what it is. So I think knowing what they're about to do and who these people are, like, just makes this scene hit a little more. So if you didn't have that before, that makes sense. We do get a good
And
Family Guy moment though when they get all together, and Elrond says, "You are now the Fellowship of the Ring."
Yeah, yeah. No, that was
Beautiful.
good.
He
And
said it.
even to go to another point you said too, everything else 100% did copy this. These books came out like 1930 or something, right?
Yeah.
And J.K. Rowling even said that like I got so much inspiration from the Lord of the Rings book. And when I was watching this movie, I was like, oh, okay, Harry Potter, they got that from this. They got that from
Hmm.
this. Like even the Nazgûl, like it's the same thing as those hooded dudes in Harry Potter.
True. Yeah.
Like I forget what those guys are even called,
Dementors.
but yeah, the Dementors. Yeah, like it's 100%. Like
Yeah.
they look
True.
similar too.
Yeah. Yeah. You're right.
There's
That's a
so
good
many.
point.
There's so many similar elements.
Yeah. Yeah. So seeing it for the first time is gives you like that wow factor. Whereas like if you had seen the stuff that came after this and then you're going back to it, you're like, oh, that's already been done before. But
Yeah,
this actually was the first one to do it.
yeah,
But,
exactly.
um, I mean, something I love about the scene too, I guess it's kind of right after the scene is when after they leave, and then we really get to see some amazing landscapes on like the hills that they're walking, and they're walking through the mountains, and we get drone shots of like the towers of Mordor and Isengard and underground when he's building Saruman's building the army and everything, like massive shots of the river, like the big statues when they're
Yeah.
crossing the river, the great hall in the mine. Like the stakes of this movie is unreal. Or it's
Oh
not
yeah.
stakes,
No,
scale, I should say.
the scale. Yeah. Yeah. No.
Yeah.
No. For sure. And that was the thing too. That was another note I had, like in my general thoughts. I guess I realized I didn't even say is like I watched this from home, but even from home, it's weird to say that like you still get the scale of again. I'll say that definitely the best experience would obviously be in a theater if you're watching a massive theater with the speakers and everything. But even watching at home, you get the sense of like this is big. I'm watching on the screen and just seeing the scale of the landscapes and the music that goes with it. It just
Hmm.
feels so epic, even from watching from your TV screen.
Yeah, I mean they zoom out in the mines in like one pillar. Like we see our group at the base of a pillar and they're taking up like 100th of it. So like
Yeah.
if you assume Aragorn's 6 feet tall, let's say that's like a 600-foot pillar, and there's like
Mm.
2,000 of them in this room. Like it just feels huge. And you're right, the music adds to it. It's I love that aspect of these movies.
Yeah, I think it's the I guess to tap into like the camera work even of the movie. It makes me think because I was trying to make the comparison of like why it feels that way, and like I think it's the choice of like sometimes you see people go on like adventures and they don't actually do the pull out, but the pull out is so important for what. And
Mm,
like this movie is like such a good example of like if you just have these close shots of them, which there's a lot of those because like just have them to have dialogue and talk to each other, just walking and talking, but like when you pull out and like really show like this is how far they're walking across and like this is like
mm.
what they have to go onto and this is how big they're the mountain they have to climb and stuff like that. It really gives the like, oh, these guys are like are really trekking it. Versus like if you just
Right.
stay tight with them all the time, you don't really get a sense of like how far are they walking or how big is this field that they've been walking on and stuff like that. Like they really show you like how long and far they've been moving.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a good point. There's two things there. I think one, they can do this in this movie because they were actually in those places. Like they were
Yeah.
actually up on the mountains and through the hills. They obviously weren't in this giant mines of Moria. That was fake.
Yeah.
But like for the most part, like they could zoom out and show these things because they're actually there. If you're shooting something in a studio, you just can't do that. I mean, you could use
Yeah.
CGI, I guess, but you can't like miniaturize your guys and make them. Maybe you can. I don't even know exactly the extent
Mhm.
of what you can do technology wise, but like the fact that they're actually there makes that a lot easier and better. But one thing I will say is that like you're right, it visually it makes us like, wow, this is crazy what they're trekking over, this mountain they're climbing or whatever. But I will say I don't think this movie does a great job, well these movies, all three of them, of communicating how long it takes to do some stuff.
Mm.
Like some stuff they changed, I suppose, for the movie, but like in the book, Gandalf at the start when he leaves the Shire to go like research on the ring and he sees Saruman and he comes back, that's like 17 years or something. That Frodo's just
Yeah.
sitting there with the ring and it's just sitting in the Shire. It feels like it was a weekend in this movie. And even when they're
Yeah.
trekking through the mine, it feels like it all happened in like a couple hours. That was supposed to be like a few days. Like Gandalf does say it, I will say, when they get into the mine, he's like, it's 6 days to the other side. So that's in there, but I don't know. I feel like we should have got a scene of them like talking when they're deciding like which way to go. That scene could have been them like camping for the night instead. And then we see Gollum around the corner, and then they can have that same conversation of like, yeah, he's been following us for a few days. And you could have that same conversation, but have it in the context of them like settling down for the night to communicate like, yeah, this is a day that's passing. It feels like it's really quick.
Yo, that's a good point. I didn't even catch that line. First or second time there were 6 days in there.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a really good point. That yeah, they don't really the passage of time, and I don't think, obviously I know you don't think it's like a damper where it's just like like it ruins it, but like I feel
No.
like it would add more if you really put into this, like, I don't necessarily the stakes, but just the element of like how long this is really taking. You get this the essence of like the how far and like how big these landscapes are. But
Mm-hmm.
yeah, you like you're saying, you don't really get the sense of like how long. I did not think it took them 6 days. That's
Right.
crazy.
Because it
It
doesn't
did
feel
feel like
like
a
that in
couple
the movie.
hours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it feels like they they're walking in.
Damn.
Okay, they get to this point. Gandalf doesn't know which way to go, so they take a break, and then they talk a little bit, and then they keep going, find the crypt, have a fight, and then running away from the Balrog, and they're out. It feels like it
Yeah.
was just that was it. But I mean, that still is scale. So I think the
Yeah.
scale of this movie physically, like we talk about, like the landscapes, everything is awesome. But the scale in like how long it takes, that would really add to it too, and make this journey feel more epic and grand too. Because by the end of it, like the whole thing, start to finish, is like multiple years.
Yeah.
And I get like they shot it all in succession, so you can't really have your characters age. I also think they don't have to age that much. Like they're all mythical beings, like they're
Yeah.
all old anyway. So over a few years, they wouldn't really age that much. But like the whole journey to Mordor is multiple years, and it
Mhm.
feels like a few weeks in the span of these movies.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, I didn't really get that. Like I knew it took a long time, but when you're throwing out these things like years and stuff like that, yeah, it 100% does
Doesn't
not
feel like
feel.
that.
It
Yeah.
does not feel like that. It does. I was watching and thinking like, I know this is taking a long time, and they don't, not necessarily saying they have to do like a little title card being like 2 weeks later,
Right.
3 weeks. They don't got to do all that, but even just through dialogue, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It could have been like just like not in an exposition kind of way, like damn, it's been how many 5 days?
Yeah.
Like no, you're not gonna do it like that, but I think there's another way you can uh
Well, like I said, even in
say
the
it.
mines, like when they have a scene built in where our group is gonna sit down and chill for a bit, so we can have this dialogue between Gandalf and Frodo. That's
Yeah.
already in the script. Just do it in the
Yeah.
context of them camping out for a night, and then so we all understand. Okay, that's been at least one night that they're spending in the mines.
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
No,
Yeah.
true. That's a good point. That's a great point.
But then we get the whole battle in the mines and the Balrog and just this Mines of Moria. Give me your thoughts.
Oh, no, it was great. I really liked this scene. It was even like I don't know the name of that creature. I like the squid creature that like was even like first like was like grabbing at them before they even like were
Oh,
entering.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, but even that element, like I didn't, no spoilers in that sense. Like I didn't know that was coming. I thought it was just gonna be like a smooth entry into there. So like getting all that, like obviously the reveal of like all of them being dead in there, like, oh no, this is a tomb, and like at
Hmm.
that, and then like the battle with like the giant, it was like an ogre, right? Like the thing, or like a cyclops. I'm trying to
Troll.
remember. Troll, yeah. But no, it was great. And that was another element to like this moment, which was again like a Harry Potter definitely. I was like took inspiration from this, just like the way the action set piece like looked, and like even with like what's it called I'm about it, Legolas, right?
Yeah,
Legolas is Orlando
Legolas.
Bloom's character, right?
Yes.
Yeah, with him like jumping on his back and stuff like that, and just he's so smooth in these movies. It's just like
Yeah, he's unreal, dude.
it's
I mean,
crazy.
there's even a little thing when they're walking up on the snowy mountains and they're all like fighting through the snow that's like 4 feet deep. Like they're literally
Yeah,
holding up the hobbits because it's taller than them, and Legolas is just walking on top of the snow.
yeah,
This guy's just, I mean, he's an elf. Like they're OP.
yeah.
They're so OP in these movies, dude.
Oh
And in
my
the
god,
later
that's
ones, in the
crazy.
battles, he does just Crazy
Oh
shit.
yeah, which I didn't know. I didn't know that he was gonna be out here going that crazy. I'm like, damn, man. Like, yeah, no,
He
it's
doesn't miss with a bow, and then if you get close to him, he'll still give you the work with his little daggers. He's like
yeah,
that.
no, it's dope. But no, I like that whole element. This was my point of like again, why I was saying I was like where that last part in just the contrast of this part, but again, it's
Mm,
different meanings of the scenes, and when like this scene meant that this is the building them up to get to here and like bring us further up the story. But just it was that contrast of from that to that where I was like, oh my god, like we're really getting back into it. Where I was
yeah.
like, I was thinking back to where we were before, and I was like, oh, that's why maybe it didn't work for me so much. But like I loved this aspect of the movie. This part was great.
Yeah, and you mentioned the troll that they brought in, and that just reminded me back to when you were talking about Bilbo and his stories. You know, he said, "Oh, I fought
Yeah.
these three trolls and the dragon or whatever." In this movie, we don't see the dragon, but when Frodo gets stabbed and then they run away, they lie him down and they're looking for like a flower or something to stop the
Yeah.
bleeding. And then when Arwen shows up, they're chilling at the base of three stone trolls. Did you ever notice that?
Oh yeah,
That's the
true.
trolls in The Hobbit that Bilbo from The
Mm.
Hobbit.
I did notice that. I didn't actually know if that was like a coincidence or not, but like, okay, that's the actual. Okay,
I
that's a nice little.
I'm pretty sure that's what it is. I
Yeah,
guess I
yeah,
don't
yeah,
know
yeah.
for certain, but I'm pretty
I
sure
mean, I
those are
feel
those
like
same
it makes
trolls.
sense. There's three of them. Like, I mean, I don't
Yeah,
know if three is just like a common number that you do things in threes, but I
I
feel like
guess.
that's definitely on purpose.
Yeah, I think it is. But yeah, the mines, dude. It like the tease of Gollum when we get to the mines.
Oh
That
yeah,
always just gets me excited because I really like him. We don't like we talked about. We don't get him much in this movie, but we're going to. We're also really nervous going into the mines because Gandalf does not want to go down there. Right? They're
yeah,
climbing through the mountains. He's like, no, we're gonna go up here. And Gimli's like, why? What are we doing? Why are we not just going through the mines? It'll be so much easier. And Gandalf, we know, is like this wise old being. So him being hesitant to go down there is making us feel like, ooh,
yeah.
I don't know why. Why does he not want to go down there? We don't know.
Mhm.
That's where they end up going. So I think that really makes it fun. And then, like you said, the action really picks up. The fight in the crypt, the stairs when they got on the stairs and they got to jump down. There's the break, and while the
Oh yeah,
Balrog's chasing them, and they all got to jump over the stairs. We get a funny moment of Legolas and Gimli with the beard. That's one thing too that I like the later movies a little more about is we
Mhm.
get a lot more of that Gimli Legolas dynamic that I think is really
Oh yeah.
funny. They're just boys that are like having fun in the people are fighting for their lives in battles and they're just like counting kills and stuff like that. But we I get it. They kind of like just met in this
Yeah.
movie, so they're starting to build that relationship. But we get it more in the later movies, and I love that.
Have you read all the books?
Nope, just seen the
No.
movies.
Oh, okay. Oh, because the way you were referencing, you kept saying in the book, so I wasn't sure if you read the book or not.
Did I say in the book about what?
Yeah,
What was I
when
talking
you were
about?
talking about things, you're like, oh, like in the book that if you like like
Oh,
you were
like the
referencing
years? How
things.
long? No, yeah, that's
Yeah.
just stuff that I've read online, to be honest.
Oh, okay, okay. Because I was wondering if that maybe if those characters had more of that, but there was just like there's only so much character development we could do. We kind of got to more focus on these characters, which
I
again,
mean,
it's fine.
probably. You're probably right.
Yeah, because again,
Yeah.
again, there's only so much time, and this movie's we have these are our main characters right now that we got to focus on, and those guys will get more play. But yeah, that's a good point about the Legolas thing. It's not as much they get to show off his abilities, but
Yeah.
the as far as the character development that comes in a little bit later.
Yeah. I just love him and Gimli's dynamic when they're like bagging on each other and
Yeah, now it's
while they're in
funny.
pursuit in a whole murderous war. It's crazy.
Yeah, and even just like the hobbits too, like they're so like they're just not for this world. You know what I mean? Which is fine, which is a good contrast because we saw what they were doing before. Like they was messing around, stealing fireworks, all that stuff. And they're asking about second breakfast. Like, I don't think he knows what
Hmm.
second breakfast. I'm like like just this goofy stuff like that. I'm like, these guys, man, they're not up for this world.
Yeah, they're brave though.
Yeah,
I
they
think
are
that's the thing
brave.
about hobbits is like they're supposed to be kind of like clumsy and weird, but like when they gotta fight, they fight and they put themselves in situations to help the team and they don't care what happens to them and It's just the
Yeah.
beauty of the
And them
different types of
boys
people in this
eat.
world.
That's what I was just thinking about
That's
too. Them
true.
boys eat. If they're talking about second breakfast and lunch and then second lunch and dinner and supper, I'm like, when
Hmm.
were they? Again, we don't gotta have them eating on this journey, but like if that's what they're used to eating, like 6 meals in a day, what
Hmm.
were they munching on?
I will. For Frodo and Sam, I do know they eat lempus bread. I think is what it's called.
Mm.
It's an elvish bread that basically you you eat a tiny little square of it, and it's like eating a full meal.
Ah, okay.
So it's like a basically again elves are OP. It's a here's an
Yeah,
elvish
yeah,
thing
yeah.
that they just
Okay. Yeah,
so
yeah.
like that little
It's
bread
like
that
a
you see them in the
sensu
later
bean kind of.
movies. Yeah, basically. They break stuff off and just eat a tiny piece. That's what it is.
Oh, okay. Okay, yeah, that makes sense. All
Yeah.
right. That wasn't even like I was looking for some kind of hole or anything. I was just thinking about it like in a funny sense
Yeah.
of like these guys be eating a lot. What? How are they surviving all this year's journey when they're used to eating
Yeah.
6 meals a day and they're so tiny too? You think they wouldn't eat a lot?
All goes to their feet.
Yeah, apparently.
It all goes to the feet. Okay, then we get to Lothlorien. I did not even
Yeah.
know that this was the name of this place. I'm sure they say it in the movie, but it's the realm of the Lady of the Wood. We meet Galadriel, and we really get back into like this magic and
Yeah.
fantasy world, a feel of like destiny. I really like this scene actually. I think it's interesting that like when Frodo is confronting Galadriel, I mean, we get the sense of her magic when she's speaking out loud but talking to him in his mind,
Yeah.
and the whole sense of destiny. Like he doesn't want the ring, he tries to give
Hmm.
it to her, and then she's battling the wanting to
Temptation.
take it, yeah, the temptation, and then shows him like Middle Earth being enslaved, so he understands. Okay, no, I have to do this. And she says, "Well, someone will try and take it, and the Fellowship will fall apart," which sets up the end.
Yeah.
But it sets up the end in a way that like makes us nervous. We're like, "Oh no, the Fellowship's gonna fall apart. Someone's gonna try and take it." Like that's all bad stuff.
Yeah.
But then we realize that's true, but not in the sense that we thought, because the
Mm.
Fellowship does break up, but they're not all dead. Like it's just
Yeah.
Frodo and Sam are going this way with the ring, and then Aragorn, Gimli, and Legolas are going to track down Merry and Pippin. So like our characters are still moving forward on their journey, but she is right that the Fellowship did fall apart. It's just not in the way that we thought. I like that.
Yeah. No, I like it too. And it's like a perfect setup because you don't know who is gonna be tempted. Because we know that the ring can tempt anybody, but at that point when she's like it's gonna break up, it's like, oh, who's gonna be the splinter necessarily? Like, well, how is it gonna split up? At least I'm talking in my perspective of when I'm watching for the first time and not knowing how everything's gonna go out or play out. So I was like, oh, and just like the fact that like, oh, this can tempt everybody. Like even the elves are like, nah, I can't do it. I can't do it. But like
Mm,
they even them, it's like, but I don't know. Maybe I should. That's like, man,
yeah.
like this ring has really got a hold on people.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what's, I feel like it's important to do that throughout the whole movie, to just continuously show the power of this ring. And
Yeah.
you're, I mean, you're right that you're kind of wondering, like, who's it going to be that's going to try and take the ring. But at the same time, I feel like you kind of know that it's going to be Boromir. Like, throughout the whole
Mm,
movie, he's the one that's clearly the most tempted by it. Like, when they
yeah.
first meet at the council, he wants to be like, he's like, no, like, this is perfect. Let me use this so we can fight
Yeah.
back. And they were like, no, you can't. And on the snowy mountain, when it falls off of Frodo and he's holding it up and he's sitting there for a second and then he hesitates to give it back. So like we know that he's clearly the most tempted, so he's most likely to be the one to try and take it. But I mean, if you're watching it first time, that isn't, you don't know.
Yeah, but I think maybe it's also the aspect of like maybe that's the twist. You know what I mean? Like sometimes in movies they
Yeah.
do that. They're like, this guy's tempted, and then it's that guy that is the one that
Right.
really breaks in the end because he's been secretly on the side, just like he's just been holding his hand that's been shaking like the whole
Mm,
time. So I did. That's what that was my element going into. I was like, I don't know if it's gonna be a misdirect, and I think it still even works as it's being the guy that's been tempted the whole time. It's just like how
yeah.
far he's gonna go, and I didn't think he was gonna like hold Frodo down the way he did. Like I didn't know he's gonna go that to get that intense with it.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good moment of showing the, because like we said, showing the people that are tempted by it shows the power of the ring, but it doesn't show how strong it actually is. because everyone's able to eventually resist it. They're like, "Ooh,
Yeah.
should I? No." And then they can actually resist it. This shows that like it'll actually get to the point where you can't resist it and
Yeah.
you will try to kill your own friend to take it. So I think that's an important part for the ring. And I mean, the setup or the twist, I guess, of Galadriel's foresight,
Mhm.
it like I said, I think it's clear that it's going to be Boromir, but it still is a twist in the sense of it's going to fall apart, but not in the way you think. It
Yeah.
still works. I like it.
Yeah, same. Because again, that part I was also curious about. I was like, okay, how's it gonna? Is it gonna be because of like some kind of dysfunction and like argument or different like thoughts on like politically on like what we should do kind of thing?
Mm.
Maybe someone's flips like that. So like that was another aspect of I was when he was returning to everybody. I was like, okay, I don't know who's gonna flip, and also I don't know, like you said, what's gonna be the thing of how they're actually gonna break up or what the reasoning is.
Yeah. Or she could be wrong. Like we're
Yeah,
not at this point. We don't. It's not proven that everything she sees is fact. We
yeah,
didn't know that.
that's true.
So then we leave and we get to Parth Gallon. Again, did not know that that's what this was called. It's the forest in
Yeah,
Gondor when they pass these massive statues. It's really cool. Yeah, Boromir's arc, really love that. His mind getting fully corrupted. And then he gets to redeem himself too, though. Like at the end when all the orcs start fighting and Merry and Pippin are about to die, so he comes and he saves them. He's getting shot with arrows and he's still taking dudes out as he's getting hit with arrows and he's bleeding out. And then Aragorn comes to see him and he's says, "Oh, you fought bravely and you've kept your honor." And then now that the ring is gone and his mind isn't being corrupted by that, he's himself again. And then Aragorn says, "I'll fight for our people." And like his face just lights up when he says, "Oh, our people, like you really mean that? Like Gondor, I would have followed you, my captain, my
yeah,
king." Oh, I love that
yeah.
Boromir's arc in this moment.
Yeah, no, yeah, that was a great element of the story too. It's and yeah, him getting that redemption moment of being able to be like, yeah, like I let the temptation get to me, and then him get like you said, get his hero moment and just come out and be an absolute badass fighting all the orcs and stuff like that. And that shocked me though too to see him get arrowed down like that. Like
Mm.
I didn't know again, like, going to the movie, I didn't know who was gonna survive, who was gonna go. I figured there was gonna be some kind of big moment with him, some kind of redemption or something, just because of based off what he did. But I didn't think it'd be that quickly of his redemption, then his fall within
Yeah.
like the next 20 minutes.
But that's
So
why I find it so interesting because it all happens at once, and it's
yeah,
so like we haven't the movie isn't a ton of character. A lot of it's a journey, right? So it's
yeah,
physical things that they're going through. So in this one, the whole lot happens, and it I guess it, like I said, builds the character of the ring itself, and for Boromir that has kind of been unlikable throughout the movie,
hmm,
right? Because he's always fighting with them, saying, "No, we got to use the ring. You guys are why are we doing this? We should be doing this." And no, I'm not going to hurt the Hobbit. Don't worry about that. Like I got
yeah,
the rings. It's fine. So to have him like have this redemption arc and kind of regain that light in the audience's eyes, because we want to all cheer for the
yeah.
Fellowship. We don't want bad guys in there. And like I said, he's been a little bit unlikable. So this really brings it back to the top.
Yeah, no, 100% does. I thought it was a really excellent scene.
There's a Aragorn too when he turns down the ring. So when Frodo realizes like, "Okay, I got to do this alone," and he runs away from Boromir, and Aragorn shows up and he's like, "Would you take the ring? Like I gotta leave because this is messing you guys up. This is messing with your
Mhm.
minds. Like I can't stay here." And then Aragorn turns it down. Frodo runs away because his sword starts to glow, so he knows there's orcs
Yeah.
around. And then we get this badass shot of Aragorn coming around the corner. There's like 100 orcs in front of him. He does not flinch a little bit. Pulls the sword out. Says, "What's up? We doing
Yeah.
this?" So tough.
That's tough. That was great.
And then he climbs up on the top, gets the high ground. We get the whole fight, and that's the movie basically. I do find it a little anticlimactic in the way this movie ends. Like it's just in the sense that like it is very clearly opens up to a second one. They
Yeah.
knew they were making a second one,
Mhm.
so they were shot in succession. They knew exactly what they were gonna do. So like
Yeah.
I don't mind it in the grand scheme of the story, but like if you were just tuned into like one movie, you might be a little unsatisfied with this ending.
Yeah, it definitely does lead. It's the movie's still self-contained in the sense of like there's movies that could end and like, well, I guess the journey continues. But I mean, with the context, you know that it's going to lead into other movies, so you wouldn't be as disappointed. You just be like, oh, I mean, now I'm excited to watch the second movie. But if we're living in this imaginary world where there's only the Fellowship of the Ring exists is the only movie,
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't work, but it's not that. So it's you already know it's like a book series. It's going to continue. So, but I know what you mean, though.
Yeah. Yeah. Wood, do you have any facts or anything to end off? I got an interesting fact.
Yeah, you hit me with the facts.
So they would bring the casts to remote locations via helicopter, you know, like up on the hills and stuff like that. But Sean Bean, who plays Boromir,
Yeah.
was afraid of flying. So for the scenes of them like crossing the snowy mountains and stuff, he would spend 2 hours each morning climbing from the base of the mountain to the top in full costume.
Damn. In full costume.
Full costume, dressed as Boromir, 2 hours. He would climb from the base up to the set on top of the mountain because he said like if he had to, like if it was somewhere he couldn't walk to, then he would take the helicopter. But if there was a chance for him to just walk there, he would do it.
That's crazy. I mean, you gotta do what you gotta do. If you're afraid of heights, or afraid of flying. Sorry, that's what you find a way. 2 hours though is crazy.
Yeah, in full gear, like that's. I mean, but when you get to the top, like obviously, then you'd look a little disheveled, maybe a little sweaty, and that's what your character's supposed to look like if they've been going through a tough journey. So I guess it kind of works in that regard.
I guess so, but yeah, that's.
I guess
wild.
I wasn't wearing makeup. I feel like you would maybe mess up your makeup.
Yeah, maybe they set it up so like, well, let's throw the makeup on when you get to the top, so you're not sweating it off, kind of thing.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know.
That's just my assumption. Because I feel like otherwise you would just sweat it off unless he's.
But if you're gonna do that, then that's what I kind of wondered. Like, why do it in full costume? Couldn't you bring the costume up top and just get dressed when you get up there?
That's a good point. Yeah, I don't know. That's crazy. I didn't see that though. That's crazy.
Do you have any other points?
No, I don't have any other points.
That means it's time for the Filmmies.
It's time for the family. Or time for the highest family meeting. It's time for the Filmmies. Yes, it's time for the Filmmies. And this is a part of the show that Scott was talking about earlier where we give out 6 awards to the movie we just watched. And the first award that we have is our Ferris Bueller Award, where it's our AKA our lazy award. We give it out to parts of the movie that we deemed as lazy. Could be the writer, director, could be anything. Usually it's not something that we thought that ruined the movie, just usually something funny we wanted to point out. So Scott, who gets your Ferris Bueller Award?
I gave it to the Nazgûl, and we already kind of talked about how I don't want to say useless, but they're not great.
Yeah.
But I gave it to the specific Nazgûl that chases Frodo to the raft.
Okay.
So they're running away from the Nazgûl, and they're like, "Oh, I got to get to Bree." And Merry or Pippin, I can't remember who's who, is like, "Oh, the ferry. We can take the ferry."
Mm-hmm.
So they run to the ferry. They all jump on. Frodo's the last one. He jumps on, and then the horse stops. He doesn't go in the water. And I'm like, I don't know, dude. You're like 10 feet away from these guys. Again, it's been 2,000 years since you've even found this ring. You don't even know where it's at. You know this guy has it. That you got to get it done. Like if I'm Sauron and I sent my goons and I found out you were that close, you're fired. Like that's lazy, dude. You get in the water, get the ring.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I'd be mad about a lot of decisions they made, to be honest. And I'd be like, I saw that stupid shit with the pillow. I saw that on my ball, my crystal ball. Like, what the hell was that? I saw you had opportunity to kill all those hobbits, but you no pep in your step. Like I thought, why are you slowly, melodically just moving towards these guys? I'd be pretty upset if I was him too.
Yeah, so it could be just a blanket lazy award to the Nazgûl for just because they had plenty of opportunities to get the ring.
They did,
and they fumbled. So
yeah, well deserved.
Yeah.
I end up. I honestly should have gave it to them, to be honest. Like that's such a glaring lazy award, but I ended up giving it to Pippin. And
Okay.
I was struggling with this one, and me and Eloise were talking. It's funny we both thought of this as being the lazy word, but I'm like, is this lazy? So I had to sit there for a little bit, like let me find the lazy in this moment.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
it's when they're in the tomb, and like when he touches like the skeleton, the head falls
Yep.
off, then the body falls off, and then the thing falls off. And to me, I was like, what can I pick at here? Because this is a part that obviously is a cheesing part that's supposed to cheese you, because it's like, dog, what are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And obviously, like the first thing, like, all right, you made the mistake, you dropped the head, and then the body is starting to fall, and there's a chain and there's a bucket. And to me, I'm giving him the lazy because he didn't try to fix his mistake. It's like you
Mm.
realize you made the first thing. It's like, I make a quick movement to to try and grab, like, oh, let me stop that. Even if you don't catch the body, now that's been established that it's falling and there's a chain that's going, and that bucket's about to get pulled. So maybe at least maybe you can grab the bucket, and then maybe the orcs don't hear because they're like, what was that? Oh, it's probably just
Right.
nothing. But they hear three separate sounds. They're like, okay, that's something. Let's
Yeah.
go. If it was just the one sound, maybe they could have been like, there's always stuff going on in here. But I gave it
That's
to
a
Pippin for
fantastic.
that.
That's a fantastic point. I mean, because I thought the same thing. I was like, this is a perfect like lazy word. He's meant to make this mistake,
Yeah.
but like it's still a egregious mistake. But you're right. I was like, it's not really lazy, but I
Yeah.
like the way you kind of justified it, being like, yeah, you're right. The head falls off. That was the mistake.
Yeah.
Don't double down on it. Like you gotta at least try
Yeah.
and be like, because you're right. If he saves the body, you don't know. Maybe they're not gonna all show up, move the whole heaven and earth, start banging the drums and
That's what I'm
everything just
saying.
for it could have been a rock. But no,
To,
you hear a body, a bucket, a skull, like they're like, okay, no.
to
That's a
me,
great
it's the
point.
equivalent of like, you like knock over a glass and like, oh snap, out of that glass. But then you see the rest of them all falling, and you're like, oh snap, they're all about to fall. It's like, no, make a movement. Like, try to save at least one or two glasses or something. Don't be like, dang, that's crazy. Those are all about to fall. It's
Yeah.
like, no, do at least try. Like, he just
Yeah.
he just made a face like you were just like, ooh, and he just
Yeah.
held it. I'm like, all right, dog, that's not doing anything for us.
Yeah.
So
Stop being lazy and go and try and like not make the situation worse. You've already made the situation bad. Try and not make it worse. You're right.
that's all I'm saying, Pip. And I'm sorry, but you had to get it.
Good pick.
Next, but we have our fit check. So self-explanatory. What was your favorite fit from the movie?
I gave it to Boromir, and so I understand Aragorn for looting his body because his fit is crazy. So he's got like just like the classic. He's got the chainmail, and he's got like a red and gold. I wrote tunic. I don't know if that's actually the right
Okay.
word, but like a big tunic over top. And then he's got the long black leather like vest almost on top of that. The shield on his back looks tough. He's got like a fur
Mm.
cape too with like these silver things holding it together in the front. It's my favorite fit. It's tough, and like I said, Aragorn taking his braces at the end of the movie. I get it, man. It's fire fit.
Yeah.
Loot
No,
your
it's
dead
tough.
homie.
Yeah, loot your dead homies. That's the takeaway from this episode. Loot your dead homies.
What's he gonna do? He can't use him anymore. So Aragorn,
Yeah, that's what I'm
he's
saying.
kind of nice, man.
No, that's a good fit. I like that. I didn't end up getting the same fit, but I gave it to Bilbo,
Hmm.
which may seem kind of weird, but I was feeling his fit during his birthday celebration. It was just like the burgundy velvet coat, the red, like the double breast, what's called kind of like a waistcoat, and he had like the green scarf. Like, I'm looking at the pictures, I'm trying to like describe
Yeah.
it and to
Yeah.
give it to hype it up. But I was just feeling that fit. I don't know what it is. Like I the battle armor that people were wearing, like those fits. I was like, I'm feeling that. But then I was like scrubbing through. I'm like, was there like a outfit though? And I was like, there was a celebration here. So I was really trying to find something. I was like, this is his 111th birthday. So I was like, someone's got to be popping off. And then it
Yeah.
happened to be the birthday man himself. And I was like, you know what? I'm actually kind of feeling your fit. So I'm gonna give you
I
some
like it.
props.
I mean, hey, best believe, man. On my 111th birthday, I'm gonna be getting a crazy fit off. Like
That's what I'm
you're
saying.
you're not gonna show up to your birthday party just in walking around the house gear. you're gonna show up to your party dressed well. So
Yeah, I thought he came correct. So I had
Yeah.
to I had to give him some love for
Nice
that.
work,
So
Bilbo.
Yeah, nice work.
And a ring in the
Next,
pocket that adds to the fit. We need
yeah,
a ring
no,
in
that's
there.
true. Yeah, that is true. Next one we have is another self-explanatory award. It's the favorite quote. So, what was your best quote from the movie?
Mine is quite simple. Gandalf fighting the Balrog. You shall not pass. Oh my god, it's just so tough, dude.
Yeah, no, that is pretty tough. That was pretty hard. Actually, I'm not even gonna get into another element of the second movie, just in case someone's watching this and never seen the second movie. So I don't want to get into.
Yeah.
We didn't even talk about that too, really. Like him getting like pulled down into the.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. It's a major character's death, and like the major character. He's maybe like the main character of this movie, and he's leading the Fellowship and everything. We know how strong he is. He has powers and he can manipulate stuff and start light, and he knows how to get to Mordor. Like, this is a valuable piece of the Fellowship. So when he goes down, it's a big deal.
Yeah, no, 100%. It's and it shocked me too because again, I didn't expect it. I didn't know, I didn't know anybody's really like journey in the sense of like I don't know who made it. It's amazing that all these years I never one spoiler.
Seriously.
But Gladiator got spoiled for me, so like the 3 movies never got spoiled for me. But Gladiator, the 1 movie got spoiled for me in many aspects of the movie. But that's no hearsay. That's for a conversation for another day. But
yeah,
that's a great quote. Great quote. Mine went to Boromir, sorry. And to me, I think it's from when I watched the movie the first time. I completely forgot that he was a meme because I used to see that meme all the time.
yeah.
Like one does not simply walk into Mordor, and I was like,
Yeah.
I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. That freaking meme was so classic when we were like in high school. People use that one does not. It was that, and it was the Willy Wonka meme, and it like the was I forget the I actually don't even forget what I forget the meme was for the Willy Wonka meme, but anyway, that meme was it was like condescending Willy Wonka. That's what it was.
Oh,
from the OG
it's just the
one. He'd be
picture.
like,
Yeah, it's
like
just a
his
picture
smile.
of him. Yeah,
and it'd always
yeah,
be
yeah.
condescending, whatever he said. He's like, oh really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, really?
Oh,
That's
you
what
thought
it
they were
was,
gonna win 3-1, huh? Like it was
Yeah.
like that. And then this was one does not simply all the time. And then when I heard him say that, I was like, oh, it like brought me back. I was like, oh yeah, I've never seen this movie, but like now I'm getting this nostalgia of a meme. So I was like, I had to give him.
I love that. Yeah, that's such a good pick. Just like the memed quote, and
yeah,
I love that. That's a great reason. There's actually a lot of iconic quotes from this. A lot of them that have been memed too. You know, you have like even fool of a took. I hear people say that all the time when Gandalf says that to Pippin. I don't know. There's also, I mean, I guess there's a lot of them from all 3 movies.
Yeah.
Not necessarily all of them are from this, but even like Sam when he's like, if I take one more step, I'll be further away from home than I ever have. Because I saw someone someone made a video. It's like the entire Lord of the Rings trilogy, but every time Sam takes a step, he says that line. And it's like 40 hours long. It's so, but just the concept of that is hilarious.
Oh my goodness, that is hilarious. We could probably do a whole thing on just the memes of the movie. If you did a deep dive on Lord of the Ring memes, it's probably like a long sheet. It does run deep, to be honest. And the funny thing is, I see so many of these memes, and there's so many iconic like moments and pictures that I'm like, I've never seen this movie, but I'm like, but I've seen this. Like, especially like the moment of like when Frodo's falling in the ring, like falling that
on his finger.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh, that's the thing. I didn't know what the context of it was, but I always just saw and him falling over, and then
some of them are like classic memes that everyone knows. Some of them are some things that just because I've seen this movie 100 times, I just say all the time. Like the orc to Saruman when he's like, the trees are strong, the roots run deep. I don't know why, but that one just sticks in my brain, and I say it all the time.
Yeah, that's fair. Hey, if it sticks with you, it sticks with you. Like
looks like meat's back on the menu, boys. That's a good one. That's used not from this movie, but
Yeah.
There's so many good ones.
For whatever reason, for me, I don't think he knows about Second Breakfast. I don't know why that sticks with me. That just like stayed in my brain for whatever reason. I don't know why.
I mean, that one gets memed pretty often too.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I don't think
because like I see people they change it. Like, what about second whatever? You know, let's say.
Yeah.
You know, it's like if you did something like you turned the ball over, like Josh Allen threw a pick, and then he throws another pick, and we're like, what about second interception? You know what I mean? Like people just use it to roast people online.
Okay, that's good. I'm gonna do a deep dive on. Now I'll understand all of them, so now I can go back and go.
Shout out to Josh Allen throwing picks in the playoffs. Too,
yeah, I was gonna say, if Brandon's listening to this episode, he's gonna love that aspect.
He will.
All right. Next award we have is our Six Man, aka our Peyton Pritchard Award. So this movie goes out. It's an award that we gave out to someone that didn't have a. Well, they had a. I always preface like didn't have a big role, but sometimes they do have a big role. But they showed out in their small moments in the movie. That's the process of this award. But doesn't always end up that way. But who gets your Six Man? Who showed out for you in their small role?
Yeah, because my person had a pretty big impact. I'll say like the role. They're not a starter. Like I feel like it couldn't be Peter Jackson. Couldn't be like Tolkien. Couldn't be like any of the main members of the Fellowship.
Yeah.
I give it to Howard Shore.
Okay.
For just one of the best film scores of all time. Like, people get married to this music. People play this like it's been remixed 1,000 times, and the way it's used in this movie too. Like the music of Mordor feel like the orcs just feel mean and bad and strong, and then the Fellowship when the music swells when they all come together, they feel inspirational and powerful as well. It just this music, and in the Shire it's just like cute and fun. Just do 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 do. It's the music is amazing. So shout out to you, Howard Shore.
Yeah, 100%. And that's why I preface with saying that too, because just like people like, oh, this guy that does the score is a Six Man. He's never a small part of the movie. I'm just like, but no. But
the way I justify it is the music is all over this movie, but he only has control over that aspect of it. Yes, it's in a lot of the movie, but he only has the control of one part of it. So
that is true.
That's why I justify it.
Yeah. And I preface because I had the exact same Six Man.
As you should.
Yeah, because I was like, he has got a big part of the movie. I don't know if I'd say he showed out in his small part of his movie, but we have our starters. That's what it is. Our starters are usually the main characters, directors, writers. That's usually what it is. Right. Anyone outside of that can be a Six Man, basically.
Exactly.
We're not going to say, Frodo's my Six Man.
Yeah. No, we can't be doing that. But like your Six Man can come off the bench and still play like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
And be a big part of the game. You know what I'm saying? Like Howard Shore, he played 30 minutes. He was a big part of this game, but he came off the bench.
There you go. Yeah, there you go. And I don't need to repeat any. Like you said, all the same reasons why. Like I have a specific track, and it's called Among Hen. I was gonna play it, but I don't know if maybe we'd get copyrighted on YouTube, so I'm not gonna actually play it. But it's just a song that gets played throughout, and it's like, especially an element of the movie that I really liked was just like the building up of the army, and like when that felt so grand, and even just like the birth of what was the guy's name again? That
the Uruk-hai?
Lurtz.
Oh yeah.
Like the birth of him, I was like, and just like how grand that was. I'm like, oh, he just like peeling out, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like this is
kills the guy as soon as he gets out. Saruman's like, no, let him do it.
Yeah, no,
I want this guy to be bad and mean and tough.
Yeah,
the music is so good. I mean, you're right. There's a lot of different songs for different moments, but I think the most iconic and the one that I think of is just the bum 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 bum, and like when that is playing right before a fight, or like when our heroes are doing something cool, like it just inject that right into my veins.
Yeah,
it's great.
No, it's great. I had to look up his work too. I was like, what else has he done? He did all three of these movies. He did The Hobbit. I didn't know he did the score for Seven. He did Aviator. He did Departed, and it's funny he did Mrs. Doubtfire. It's always funny when like they could throw like comedies in there. You know, like these like big like epic movies, and then like Mrs. Doubtfire, which is a funny movie, but it's just a funny contrast with these movies.
Yeah, not a movie you would expect to have a Howard Shore score in.
No.
Yeah,
But classic. Yeah, great six, man. We were certified. Second
certified.
last award we have is our best scene. So another self-explanatory. What was your favorite scene from the movie?
It's funny because it's the scene that you were crucifying throughout, not crucifying, but you were saying that didn't
Just
work for
giving a
you
little
as much.
pushback. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the forming of the fellowship.
Okay.
Like I said, it really just gets me so fired up, mostly because I know what they're all about to do.
Yeah.
And it's just the start of this journey, getting all these characters together. You're right. There's the memeable moment of one does not simply walk into Mordor. And then right after this is when they start off on their journey and we just get these incredible shots of the landscapes and the music swells, and it gets me so fired up. I just start standing and clapping every time.
Which is fair. So would you give a standing ovation to this movie in the theater? Just checking. 15-minute standing ovation.
Yeah, I might.
Uh, okay. I mean, it's a good scene. Like I don't want to come across like I'm saying like that scene ruined the movie for me or anything. Like literally my favorite quote is in that scene.
Yeah.
It's just there's just elements of movies that, like there's the ups and downs for everybody. Like for some people, like it's all ups, but this was just a down for me. And I just wanted to be honest. But I don't think I'm not looking at you sideways because like this was this guy's favorite scene. Like that, I hear your perspective and I understand why you like it, and it's completely valid. It didn't resonate with me. So it's
I think the biggest part, it's even what I have written down, is that because I know what they're all about to do. So I think on rewatches, maybe like if you watch this movie more and more and more, maybe you'll appreciate that scene a little bit more because like I said, you know what's about to happen, so it kind of just gets you excited for it, and that's why I like it so much. But like if you're watching it for the first time, this is your second time watching it, right?
yeah, second time.
Like you're more excited to see them actually do the thing, whereas
Yeah.
like I know what the thing is and I've seen it all so many times. I'm excited to see them do the thing, and this is what it gets me excited to do the thing, and it's lit.
Yeah. And I'll even say on the second watch, I do feel like I did appreciate it a little bit more than the first time. Because the first time I just wasn't just like, I was kind of like, whatever. But I'm watching a second time and I'm taking notes on it. And I remember not as liking the scene as much. But then I was writing stuff and I was like, you know what? Yes, actually, I was like, I remember
Yeah.
this was the scene. I was like, oh, I remember this is the part that I didn't love as much. But I was like, okay, I can appreciate more. And hearing your perspective too and kind of getting that, I think when I watch it again, it's going to be every single watch is a different, obviously, experience in itself. You focus on little different things, and I'm going to be more like locked in on this scene, seeing if it can
Yeah.
work with me the third time. Third time
Yeah, I
around.
mean I think it's just fun that it's two different perspectives, right? Because I have the
Yeah,
perspective of someone that's seen it a whole bunch of times, and you have the perspective of someone that's seen it once. Well, now
yeah,
twice. So I mean, that's what movies are, right? There's some things
yeah.
that on a rewatch have more value, and some things that don't. But there was another scene that was close for me, so I'm
You want to
curious to
say
see
it?
if that's what yours
Oh,
was.
okay,
No,
okay,
go. I'll
okay.
let you go first.
So mine was the Boromor's. Am I saying his name right?
Boromir.
Boromir.
There you go.
That's another thing that fucks with these movies too. I was saying that, Louise. I'm like, I'm not used to these mystical names, bro. I'm used to
Yeah, that's
Ron,
fair.
Harry, and Hermione.
Yeah,
I'm getting used to all these other names, but it's fine. I mean, there's still some weird name like Malfoy and all these other names that are kind of out there.
true.
But
Yeah.
anyway, his temptation. We were talking about it, and that's why I was a little bit even like hesitant when you're asking about the scene too, because it's like an extended scene. But I was like, I don't want to. Well, I'm still gonna talk about it, but like this is kind of like my part of the scene I really like. Like I liked them being overpowered by the ring and the pull and how aggressive he got with Frodo, because I was like, oh snap, like what's gonna happen here? Like I don't think he's gonna kill Frodo or anything like that, but it got me locked in because we talked about how there was temptation with him throughout the movie that was teased and stuff like that. But I was on the sense of like, okay, I don't know if it's gonna be a flip, and then maybe it's gonna be somebody else that's gonna be the person that's gonna be most tempted by the ring, and it's gonna make them break up and stuff like that. But to see him just go buck wild like that, and then like attack him, and then him get his redemption arc after that of like coming out and just being a badass and just taking out everybody and cleaning house. I didn't expect him to get the bow and arrows. So like when he got hit, and every single hit was more dramatic, and not even in like a cheesy way, just more dramatic in sense of like it was hitting me where I was like, oh snap, like is he gonna get past? I was like, oh no, this I think we're seeing his final moments here. And the quote that you mentioned too, I liked it. It was almost was my quote, but yeah, I just tied it in with my scene when he was just like, it's like I would have followed you, my brother, my captain, my king. I was
Oh
like
my
that
god, who's
part did
cutting
get me.
onions? Who's
Yeah, that
cutting
part got me.
onions, man? That is so. Yeah,
That got
this
me.
this is what I would say. This would have been. It was either the forming of the Fellowship or this scene that were my two
Okay.
favorites because Boromir's arc in this one scene is fantastic. Seeing him go from someone kind of unlikable to someone like a bad guy, like he's
Yeah.
fighting Frodo for this ring, to a great guy. All of this
Yeah.
happens in one scene, and the moment at the end with Aragorn, the pride and his people, he's fighting for Gondor, and when Aragorn like recognizes those people and makes himself part of them by saying our people when he's an outcast, he's been exiled. So Boromir does pride in his face. He's like, "What? Our people? You really like? Oh my god, I would have followed you. You're the guy. Like, oh my gosh, dude, who's cutting
Yeah, no.
onions
No,
gets
it
you
was
every
good.
time."
It was a good emotional scene. I was thinking when you said that, like, yet another scene, I was like, maybe it's this scene. I don't know. There's a lot of good scenes, so but no, that definitely that scene definitely stuck with me.
Yeah, I did. I think the reason I talked about it so much before is because I didn't make it my best scene, but I
Mm,
wanted to show it some love because I loved it so much. And you make a good point too of like the way the arrows hit him. Like he gets hit for the first time, but like we see people in movies all the time, they get hit with an arrow, they snap it off and they keep going,
yeah,
right? So you don't know that he's gonna die here, and then he gets hit with another one, and then you're kind of like, oh no, I don't think he's gonna make it.
yeah.
But he keeps getting up and fighting orcs. It's lit.
Yeah, exactly. Because at this point too, like Frodo's been stabbed. You know what I mean? Like you could be like this thing where like now he's just a wounded member. You know what I mean? Like oh, we got to like drag him. Like he can't walk. Like it could. I was thinking maybe it'd be that kind of thing. But like yeah, as you were saying, as the arrows kept coming and coming, I was like oh no, I think this is it for him.
And I think it's a good idea to have one of your members die, like to really
Yeah,
set the stakes of the movie. Like if everyone just like is going on their way and they're just like wiping orcs left and right and like with no one takes any damage, then we're kind of like with the Nazgûl, we're like these guys don't do anything. They're kind of lame, but like the orcs actually get a kill, so we're like okay,
yeah,
no, they're actually a threat.
yeah. That's a good point. Yeah, you add some credibility to the orcs
Yeah,
that you didn't
exactly.
with the Nazgûl.
Exactly.
There's
Because
no
like, where are the
pill.
Nazgûl? Shouldn't they be here? Like they're called to the ring. Why are the orcs here and the Nazgûl aren't? Like they're the whole start of the movie that they will never stop hunting you. They're always called to the ring. They will never stop. I seemed like they stopped.
Yeah, it does. They're embarrassed. They're embarrassed from the pillow to the scene stuff.
They're
Now,
like, yeah, they would have come, but oh snap, Aragorn's there. Last time he 1v5'd us. So let's chill out, maybe.
yeah, exactly. He's like, I heard there's fire and water there. I don't want to. Maybe
That's too scary.
it's too scary. I don't know. It's a little much.
That's funny. Yeah.
Last but certainly not least, we have our MVP. So who gets your MVP for the movie?
I gave my MVP to J.R.R. Tolkien,
Mm,
who is the original author of the books, the Similarion, I think it's called, which is like the encyclopedia of all the lore of these movies. I mean,
okay.
all of this came from his mind. This may be the deepest lore of like any story, to
Yeah.
be honest. Like every race of people, he created languages. He came up with different creatures, different like ages of time. Like we said, in the Hobbit movies or earlier, this is like the third age or something. That we're getting prequels of like Galadriel and TV show forms, and like
Yeah.
there is so much story and lore to this that is just insane. All the characters are so great, and he came up with this massive epic journey that I love so much. And Sauron is just such a great villain too. Like this immortal being that like part of his life is attached to this all-powerful ring. So like
Mhm.
even if you kill him, if that survives, he can like come back a little bit. You talked about the
Yeah.
Harry Potter influence. I think that's a Voldemort
Oh, 100%.
influence right there. So like all of it is so amazing and so deep and so detailed, and a lot of that comes from Tolkien. And there's aspects of like the later movies that I I know when we do them, I'm gonna praise other people for. So I'm just giving him his MVP right now.
Okay.
He deserves it.
Yeah. No, that's fair. Well deserved, and it just makes so sense. Like as you started saying his name, I'm like, yeah, that's it. It just makes so much sense. Like I went a different route, and it's it's kind of tied to yours. I mean, I gave it to Peter Jackson,
Mm-hmm.
and the reason that I gave it to him is because sometimes I think I don't think it's underappreciated, but actually, no, I will say it's underappreciated. I think it's underappreciated when directors make things work. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? Because people will be like, people like the writer directors where it's like, oh, this guy directed on, he also came up with the story. And it's just
Mm-hmm.
like, yeah, that's true. But like, there's a lot of times people have taken good books and have not made it work out. This isn't the first time they tried to do Lord of the Rings. Like there
Yep.
was like they made like early adaptations of like a TV series and stuff like that. They've tried to make it work in the past. So it's just like this guy actually made it work. You know what I mean? Like they got lucky with like Harry Potter. They made it work on the first try. Like not everything works out. Like anybody that can like take something that's really popular and then actually make it translate on screen. Like I'm sure there's a lot of people that have favorite books that like, oh, they're making a movie and then it ends up being ass and then it just doesn't get.
Mm-hmm.
It's like I just read the book. The movie's bad, but like he actually made it work. I'm sure like there's aspects some people will be like die-hard book fans will probably be like, oh, he missed this whole thing, sure, but overall though, the mass majority of people love the movies and love what he put on screen. So it's a trek to what he did to actually make it work when it's very hard to make a beloved book series actually adapt it well, like
Yeah.
on screen.
Yeah, he 100% deserves credit. I totally agree because as honestly, the fact that the lore is so deep on this means he had to make a ton of choices of what to leave out, like to
Yeah.
choose what story am I going to tell, how am I going to tell the story, what characters do I give screen time to, what do I wait till the second movie,
Mm.
what's a good balance so that people care about these characters, but I can't do everything all at once. So
Yeah.
like that you have to pick and choose what you're leaving out and what you're putting in, and that's very easy to mess up.
Oh
So
yeah.
the fact that he got it right 100% deserves a lot of credit, and just like the production
Mm.
as a whole involved like so many people, so many details
Oh
and stuff
yeah.
that they worked on, and they shot this whole thing in sequence for like 400 days or something like that. Like just for the trilogy as a whole, he deserves a ton of credit. So
Oh yeah. I'm
I'm
sure
not
he
mad at the pick at
lost.
all.
He probably lost like 10 years off of his life
Yeah, worth it.
making
Well,
that movie.
I say that not being Peter Jackson, but thank you, Peter Jackson,
Yeah.
for making these movies.
Like I'm just imagining all the sleepless nights and all those late like just everything like because like you said they made them back to back to back. It's like that's such a
Mm-hmm.
trek. Usually it takes like 2 years to make like one movie. Not like back in the day at least, or even maybe even longer. But making these back to back, and they're not short movies either. So these are
No,
long films that he did back to back to back. So I
and not easy to film either. Like in the battle sequences, they have like hundreds of extras
yeah
that like it's not all CG. There's obviously some digital
yeah
touching, but like a lot of it is practical effects and
yeah
like hundreds of people. And like I saw a fact for the sound of the orc army.
yeah
They went into like this football stadium before a game, and he just got them all to like yell some signals or stuff.
yeah.
He told them what to all yell at the same time. So instead of like taking a few people's recordings and like doubling it, he actually got audio from like a full stadium of people, like all
Oh
these
damn.
little things that just all come together and make the movie so great.
Yeah, no, it's I mean that's why he got my MVP. So
Yeah, he absolutely deserves it. But for me, I was like Tolkien, like this story,
yeah,
these characters, everything. It's both great MVPs,
no, it
honestly.
makes sense, 100%.
Well, that's gonna do it for us. Thank you so much, everyone, for listening. We got a couple certifieds. We got
I think we just got one.
just one.
This is six man.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. Just
That's
one.
still good. It's still one though.
Yeah, we still got a certified. I
We still
like
got
that.
one.
Thank you for listening. We really appreciate it. We hope you enjoyed the episode. If you did, we would appreciate a 5-star review. There's only one ring, but there are 5 stars. Or how many they gave? He gave 5 rings to dwarves. Maybe there's one of
Mm.
the races I feel like that he gave 5 rings to,
So be like them.
So be like them, yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. We would appreciate it. Be sure to check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Reddit at the Film Room Pod. We're on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Film Room Podcast. Come check us out. Say what's up. Be part of the family meeting. We will see you next week for more. Dion, take it away and close us off.
Short and simple, because I've mentioned that this stuck with me before. Just always remember about second breakfast.
Yeah, true. Can't forget about that.